in the past, one of the big things for like on the directing and the production side of things would be that women were predominantly offered, to direct or do camera work or produce films that people felt were very much of like a female, like nurturing nature.
Oh.
Or like a romantic love story or something about motherhood. And so the women that were doing a lot of work were sort of put into that kind of box. And that box has completely exploded, which is so cool.
Is the show for me and you, the one you love to listen to, and ooh, you got your friends, see it through. See, 'cause laughter is medicine too.
Hello, I am Angela Edge, producer of The Edge Show, an award-winning podcast and television show, and this show is brought to you by the Relevant app.
Hey, I'm Wendy Love Edge, host of The Edge Show, and the opinions expressed by our guests on this show are not necessarily those of Edge Productions. This is Season 7, Episode 1, Women in the Film Industry. Hey, Angela, how are you today?
Hey, Wendy, I'm doing okay on this Sunday. It's Father's Day, right?
We're recording on Father's Day. Now. It's very true. I always say on Father's Day and Mother's Day, I say, let's celebrate the spirit of the father in all of us. Or on Mother's Day, let's celebrate the spirit of the mother in all of us. Because, some people don't have great associations with these made up holidays. And, but we can always take time to celebrate ourselves and people who do love us around us. So yeah,
that's
for sure.
That's a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
I'll have to remember that.
So I am in Massachusetts now, and you are all the way in Arkansas. It's really fun to be hosting the show together this season. But it's also kind of weirdly ironic or something since we're so far apart and we're doing
thousands of miles apart. Yeah, now we're doing a show together finally after all these years.
Right.
Producing and you're just hosting, not just, but
right.
And now we're coming together.
Yes.
For the 7th season of The Edge Show.
Yes. And we've been making podcasts, radio shows, and TV shows for a long time now, starting with the Bulldozer Health Show. And the last season of that was on NBC in Fayetteville. So that was exciting for us.
Even though it was like after midnight, right?
Yes. Well, the subject matter, apparently not only is cannabis sort of taboo on television and on the airwaves, but also alternative health methods, talking about other ways to stay well and healthy is another thing that they sort of frown upon. But they did air the show. It was just real late at night. Don't want to influence those children,
Oh, yeah.
But it's been so much fun.
Influences.
Yes, it's always so much fun creating with you. And this season, we're looking at things a little differently, I think. Some of the subject matter will be going a little deeper, coming away from all wellness, plant medicine, art, and moving into some subjects that are heavy that are kind of on our hearts to talk about, I think.
Yeah, like right now it's Pride Month, and I think we're gonna do some kind of news and Pride episode this week. So look for that.
Yeah, for sure. And other women's issues. And also we decided to do a series on homelessness. It's a big topic. We need several episodes really to talk about, the scope of the problem and possibly some solutions. But I'm really excited about this season. It's going to be a little different. And it's always so great to see you, of course.
Oh, miss you already.
I know. I miss you too.
It's such a great thing that in this day and age, we have virtual ways to keep in touch and actually see each other's face.
Yes.
Even though we're so far apart.
For sure. And in this episode, we're talking about women in the film industry. And later you'll see an interview that I did with Mika Boorem. But after we did the interview, she was saying to me, I was saying, Ange and I are in different states now for a while.
Yeah.
And she was talking about her dad, how he has this analogy to bread soaked in milk. Like if you keep pouring the milk on, it's too much and the bread is soggy and falling apart. That's he says in relationships, if you're together, it's like saturation, right?
Like for the last 2.5 years.
Yes, yes. So a little break, doing different things and seeing each other on Zoom or on FaceTime. It's actually kind of exciting and fun already. Yeah. So I think it's pretty cool. But yeah, so in this episode, as I said, we're talking about women in the film industry. So I gathered a few statistics about that. So for filmmakers, by gender, starting in 2016, filmmakers, only 28% were female. 2017, 26%. 2018, 30%, 2019, 29%. So it's not moving very much, just slightly. Overall movie directors that were female in 2020, 21%. So, I think, we're seeing a little bit of movement, but it's so slow.
Yeah, I would think that in the year 2022, that would be a higher number.
Yeah, you would think so. And there's also this celluloid ceiling report that's a long-running annual study of the film industry. And in 2019, they said 21% of directors, writers, editors, executive producers, and cinematographers, that's a lot of different jobs, of the top 250 grossing films, only 21% were female. It went up in 2021 to 25%. But again, it's such a small amount. I would think by now it would have risen up a little more than that.
Well, we're here doing our part, as a female-owned business, production business.
True. And the reach is pretty far. This show, The Ed Show, airs in several states on radio and TV and, of course, YouTube and major podcasting formats. So the reach is pretty big. Right, we're doing our part. And I think that women are stepping forward a little more and jumping in. I hope that the numbers continue to climb, maybe a little bit faster. We'll see.
Also want to give a shout out to FPTV in Fayetteville, Arkansas, because if you don't have any production skills whatsoever, all you have to do is sign up for classes at FPTV, and it's free. And the equipment's free, and they will teach you how to do everything involved in production, camera work, editing, all that. That's where I learned years ago. So you too can learn how to be a producer.
I think it's amazing what they're doing at FPTV in Fayetteville, Arkansas. I knew absolutely nothing about making television. And while I'm not very good at technical things or editing or anything like that, I still went through the classes and at least understood how it's done. Right. And then found
that's what you have me for.
Right. It works perfectly for us. But yeah, and in your state, wherever you are, check out public television, because frequently they have these classes and equipment you can check out and get started. Why not? If you have an idea, it's a great way to get started. Yeah, so I hope people start to bring their ideas to fruition. The stats I gave were for the USA, but in some other countries, women have been participating in the production side for much longer. Like, for instance, in Brazilian cinema back to the 1930s. And wow. Yeah, right. And actually, France has the largest number of films that were directed by women. So if you're interested in women in film, check out Brazil and France for some of those films.
Needs to step up.
Yes, I believe so. Well, coming up next, my interview with Mika Boorem. Joining me now is a longtime actress and filmmaker who has acted in over 40 major motion pictures and television roles. Welcome to the Ed Show, Mika Boorem. How you doing, Mika?
I'm good. Hello. Nice to see your lovely face.
Nice to see your lovely face. I was going to say welcome back to the Ed Show, but we just changed the name like in the middle of last season. I think you were on the Wendy Love Ed Show a few times, and it was always exciting to have you on. So Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
back.
And now you're narrowing down the name. Next time it'll be the E Show.
It might be. It might just be. That's a great idea. So today we're talking about women in film, and I'm really excited that you're here for this episode because I think you're kind of in a unique position, having grown up in the film industry and as an actress, and then director, producer, writer, filmmaker. You've kind of been in many different roles. And so I wondered what your thoughts are about the availability of these roles for women and if it's more difficult for women in the industry.
It's been really great recently because things have sort of started to level out. Women are getting more recognition. And, in the past, one of the big things for like on the directing and the production side of things would be that women were predominantly offered, to direct or do camera work or produce films that people felt were very much of like a female, like nurturing nature.
Oh.
Or like a romantic love story or something about motherhood. And so the women that were doing a lot of work were sort of put into that kind of box. And that box has completely exploded, which is so cool. Like
very cool. Yes.
Yeah. You're seeing, women do all sorts of films and action films. And that's just been groundbreaking across the board. And then within that too, as women are sort of, have been in the grounds up and building these projects and able to get them financed now. And these, as people are becoming more enthusiastic and like encouraged about these different projects, you're getting these different characters for the actresses as well that are a little bit more complex and multidimensional.
Yeah, it's a really important point that you bring up, because Ange and I were talking in the last segment about some of the statistics, and there's been some movement upward for women in all these different roles, but not in huge numbers, right? But this is an important aspect that you bring up because I think that even just, generationally, women had all these expectations of being a mother, fulfilling those types of roles. And as we have recognized the complexity of women, we haven't seen that in film until now. That's so exciting to me.
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah. And then to see those stories too, told from a female perspective on the filmmaker side, I think is interesting as well, because I think that you're going to, just get more authentic casting, more authentic input when it's, coming from the direct narrative for those types of stories. But yeah, so that's been really cool. And also too, it's starting to show, as more people have been making films with women and they're getting finance, it's starting to show that there is profitability there. Because that was the big thing too a long time ago, is people were like, well, we don't know if there's profitability there, and we don't know. And so the more content that there is and the more that there's made, because not every movie is a success, not every movie is a good movie, but the larger amount of content there is, the more likely that there is something that will land. And so just that aspect of it too, just like the opportunity to have a more vast content like based around women and women making it, gave the opportunity to show people that it really could be fully profitable and successful as anybody else. So everything's just starting to level out. It's really cool. It's starting to level out, and because there's always been great female filmmakers and there's always been great male ones, and so now it's just sort of
right. And it's hard to demonstrate profitability if we haven't tried,
yeah
right. So it's good that we are seeing movement. Like I said, the statistics are moving up. It's just been very slow, for as far as the ratio of women to men in these roles of producers, directors, etc. Do you have any advice for women who are really interested in being in the film industry, especially on the production side?
I think, a couple of things. I think one is, you just start doing it in whatever way possible, whatever that means to you. You know, you have to start building and growing. And I think that showing that you're willing to do that is always a positive thing, because on most sets it's 14 hours, 12 hour, 10-hour days. Some are shorter, but you know, so I think that if you can show that you are enthusiastic and you're very much interested, I think that's a good start for it. And then one of the other things that's happened, that's opening up more as well, is because there's more women in these positions, there's also more mentors. So I think,
point.
Yeah. So I think if you can find someone who, you know, that's open to the idea where you can, you know, come help out, intern, mentorship, that sort of thing, I think is a really good thing to do as well.
Excellent. So let's talk about some of your projects. I met you right before Hollywood.con was premiered, I believe. And on that project, you had so many different roles. My goodness. You wrote it, directed, produced, acted. How was that for you?
That was awesome. It was so cool. It was funny though, because I got tripped up a little bit when I got to the section of directing and then acting at the same time, which I didn't anticipate. I was like, whoa, because
we need another Mika.
Yeah, I feel like the director is always sort of, for the actors, you know, it's sort of your safety belt. You go out and you perform and you do the best you can and you do your interpretation and you really try to show up. But if something's not working or something's really off, then you have the director to be like, hey, like, that doesn't work, or like, hey, let's try this. And so you always sort of have them as this like guidance in there. And so that I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, what do I do? And so on big productions, what they'll do is a lot of times the directors will do playback. So they'll record it, and then they'll go over to the monitor, and then they'll play back the scene, do their corrections, and then come back and do it again. But it's a lot of extra time spent for the day. And then additionally, I don't know about other people, but for me, if I was going to watch my stuff and one of the other actors was like, hey, can I see that? I feel like I'd be like, yeah, okay. And so then we just be like watching, you know, different people be watching performances. So yeah, so I just cut that out all together. I was like, all right, we're just doing it. We're just
cool.
Going for it.
And so I understand now the film is dubbed in Spanish. That's exciting. Reach a larger audience.
Yes. So we have the film fully dubbed in Spanish, and it's hilarious. It's so much fun in Spanish. Like I mean, maybe it's just me, but I had such a good time watching it in Spanish. So the people that we got to do the dubbing, the doblando, are from Mexico, and they are animated. They work with cartoons, and they do the voiceovers for animations. And so when they came through and they did the voices, each character is like maybe even spunkier than what we're getting when we were talking in English. It's really funny.
Nice. And so what's your most current project?
So I just did a robot commercial, which was fun.
Cool.
I don't know how much I'm allowed to say about it, but it was fun. It was like the robot like rolled up, and then like the robot, it was funny. And then they were operating the robot by a drone, and so we were trying to work around the robot.
Nice.
So
technology.
And I'm good for the future too, right? I'm like, oh, cool. I can put this in my resume in 20 years. I'll be like, yeah, I know how to do robots. Check this out. I'll be ahead of the game. So we just did that. We've got the movie Hollywood.con that we're releasing in Spanish down in Mexico in the theaters, and we'll do a charity event with that, where we're gonna raise money for kids with cancer and put the whole premiere and put the movie in there and just do that as like a big gala and have a big event for it. So
fantastic.
That'll be a fun kickoff for the film. And then I've got another music video that I'm putting together. I'm not sure on the dates of it yet. I think we might have to push. We had been going into production on it, but then there were a couple things that came up today actually, but we've been exploring Route 66, which I think would be
fun.
so cool for a music video.
Uh-huh.
And I actually have enjoyed so much too. I think it's called, is that hive sourcing? I've been like hive sourcing through social media, where I ask like friends, family, followers, like, hey, like, what is it that you love on Route 66 on the West Coast? Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's
And
great. We have so a fellow cannabis activist, Miss Teddy, who has been on the show. She was actually part of the show for a couple of seasons. She's been doing some live interviews of people about cannabis on Route 66 in New Mexico. And that's been really fun to see her just kind of out on the street talking with people. So I'm sure there's so many different things that people love, different restaurants and places to visit and just all kinds of things. That's going to be fantastic.
Yeah. One of the most interesting things that came up so far was there's this town, and I don't know if it's directly on Route 66 or right off, but called Oatman. And they have little donkeys.
Donkeys?
No, they have little, I don't know. They have little, apparently I don't know how they keep them there. It must be the snacks, but they've got little donkeys that just like peruse the town. And I'm like, okay, well, if we can get some little donkeys, like,
there you go.
I like it. You know what they say, right? To sell things, you've got to have the T and the A. So that'd be the A. I'll take care of that section.
You're all set. You're ready to roll.
Yeah, I'm halfway there.
Well, it's been absolutely delightful chatting with you, and I wish you so much luck on the Spanish release of Hollywood.con and the new music video, everything you're doing. Ant and I just love following you and seeing what you're up to, and really I appreciate what a great representation you are of a woman in this industry who's just tried all different aspects and shown success. So congratulations on that as well.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so honored to have you say that to me. That's really nice. Thank you. Because I really admire you. I admire you, and I admire Angela. You guys are always out there doing cool, creative stuff. And
thank you.
It's awesome.
We're all creators at heart, doing different things. Oh, there's my friend created that for me. My guardian angel.
Hey.
Do you have a link or website where people can get in touch with you?
Yeah. So through social media, it's just under my name, Mika Boorem, MikaBoorem. And I've got a website under the same name.
That makes it really easy.
Yeah.
Thanks again for joining me, Mika.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm Dr. Brian Nichol, your cannabis expert for CannabisExpertMD.com, with a cannabis pairing for The Edge Show. This week's guest is actress, director, producer Mika Boorem. Now, Mika, she's got an extensive portfolio to choose from. She's got more than 40 roles in films as well as network television, so there's a whole lot to choose from for a pairing. I selected her film Hollywood.con, that's C-O-N. It was released in January 2021. Mika kind of achieved an Orson Welles type triple play here. She is the producer, the writer, director, and she's also acts in this film. It's a tremendous task for any one person to pull off, and she manages to do it. Hollywood.con, it's a fun comedy about an actor who steals the identity of a producer and it is then hired to produce a film, a Mayan kind of piece, about the Dwarf King. It's a bit of Romancing the Stone mixed with Pineapple Express. Really fun movie. Benjamin Boorem is Mika's father. He is a gemologist and he also stars in the film with her. Now it's a fun comedy, so let's find a fun cannabis strain to enjoy with Hollywood.con. I selected based on cannabinoid and terpene profiles available to me, Natural State Medicinal's Funky Charms. Now, Funky Charms is potent at 22% total THC. A little bit of trace CBD in there, Mr. Producer, as I know you were about to say. It actually has a good showing of cannabigerol, the CBG terpene at 0.13%. Looking at the terpenes, as we always do, it is potent at 1.7% total. It is limonene dominant at 0.56. Beta-caryophyllene is up next at 0.41. The myrcene, humulene, linalool, and pinene, they all kind of right about the same, between 0.22 and 0.15. Now, in the strain, I expect the limonene and myrcene that should give a bit of a mood lift, and the myrcene will speed the THC cerebral effects. It should calm down your anxiety if you're having any of it. The beta-caryophyllene, now this can chase away any depressive symptoms you're having, combines with the linalool, myrcene, and terpinolene for a nice, chill, body high kind of base to it. The good showing of humulene, now that may keep the munchies away a little bit, and the pinene will help with keeping your attention on the plant and counter some of the sedating effects of the other terpenes. Now, Funky Charms, this should be just the strain to enjoy with Hollywood.con, and really kind of consider this Mika's comedic Citizen Kane. For more information on all things medical cannabis, be sure to check us out at cannabisexpertmd.com. We're also available on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Gab, and relevant app platforms under Cannabis Expert MD.
Well, what a great show it's been. Season 7, here we are.
Here we are.
Yes. And it's always great to see what Dr. Nichol's pairing with cannabis, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So, Angela, you've been a producer for a long time. You've produced and created some amazing things. What has been your most favorite project?
Well, you know I love the Ed Show.
Of course.
But I really find making music videos really is down my alley as far as being creative. And the last one I made was a Monster. And making that video was pretty interesting because we were in the middle of the pandemic, so I was stuck at home, and I only had myself doing mostly every part of it except for Derek. Wyand was on percussion.
Mm-hmm.
So the editing, the camera work, the acting, the music, the production in every way it all took place in our home.
Mm-hmm.
So it's amazing that you can do that, though. Like, the equipment is so user friendly these days. You can just, do whatever you need to do without a huge crew.
Yeah, I was incredibly impressed. I still am. Everyone, please go and check out Monster on YouTube. And remember, keep in mind that she did every aspect of that video, with the exception of the percussion on the actual soundtrack of the song. But it's just absolutely amazing. And really, I think it shows, what we can do as people, but also as women, right?
Mm-hmm.
You were able to do every aspect of that yourself. And that must be so exhilarating too, and freeing to realize that you can do that.
Oh, thank you, Wendy. It was a great outlet during a hard time, right?
For sure. One more point I'd like to add is, if you would like to help the situation and support women in the film industry, seek out films made by women filmmakers, directors, and producers. It will definitely help.
Yeah, and if you're a producer, make sure you create more opportunities to involve women in your projects.
Yes, absolutely. Well, welcome to season 7, everyone, and hope you have a great week. Bye.
We'll see you next time.
The Ed Show is sponsored in part by The Relevant app, 131 Inclusion Gallery, Irie Bliss Wellness, Lindsay Camp with Synergy One Lending, Off-Leash Canine Training, and Green Harvest Health, inviting you to reclaim your wellness.